All right. Welcome everyone to the webinar and thank you for joining me today. My name is Gloria and I'm excited to guide you through this essential but often underestimated skill, capturing effective meeting minutes. So whether you're a seasoned admin professional or part of a board or committee, I saw in the chat someone was just voted part of a condo committee, or you're just someone who's looking to sharpen their skills, their documentation skills, this session will help you to gain confidence and structure in your minute-taking process. So let's dive in. Okay, so we'll start with a question, and I'd love to get your feedback. It says, what's your biggest challenge when taking meeting minutes? What's your biggest challenge? It's nice to ask this at the beginning because it helps to set the tone and to let you know that you're not alone when it comes to facing challenges in minute taking. So is it getting overwhelmed with details, knowing what to include or leave out, keeping up with fast conversations, or something else? So if you can, please just pop your answer in the chat. So I get a lot of results. Concise, 2, 3, 2, lots of 3s and 2s as I expected, and a couple of 1s and 4s, capturing everything that is being said accurately. That's a good one. Someone says all of it. I love that. Getting the appropriate amount of detail, keeping up with fast talkers. So it's quite a good mix of all, but I think 3 and 2 take the cup. So you'll be happy to know that you're not alone when it comes to these minute-taking hurdles, and this session will help us to kind of overcome some of those hurdles. Okay, let's start by defining what minutes are. Let's start with the definition, because most people think minutes are just jotting everything that happens in the meeting down. So a word by word description of everything that happens in a meeting. But what are minutes? What is the dictionary definition of minutes? Well, minutes are best defined as objective, concise records of a meeting. Objective, concise records of a meeting. So it's not a word for word description, or it's not a transcription of what happened during the meeting. It's not recording everybody's statement, but the word objective and the word concise are important. So the word concise brings to your mind summarization. So keeping it summarized, but also keeping objective. So take note of the word objective. We'll come back to it a bit later on. But why are minutes important? Why are minutes important? Imagine this. Imagine if your organization had meetings, loads of meetings, and no minutes were ever taken. Imagine that. What would happen then? It would be complete chaos. So meeting minutes are not just a formality, something that's nice to do or something that might come in handy. They serve as an official record of decisions and actions. So what's recorded is any decisions or any action points that might come up during the meeting, what needs to be done, by who, and by when. So first of all, minutes are an official record of decisions and actions. Minutes also protect organizations from legal risk by documenting who agreed to what and when. So if legal issues come up, minutes can protect the organization. Next, minutes ensure accountability. They help hold people accountable by creating a trail of action items, and they ensure that communication is clear and consistent, even for those who didn't attend the meeting. And finally, minutes provide continuity over time, and they are especially helpful when people leave a team or join a team. So there is that continuity that happens over time because of minutes. So let's move on to the next slide, and let's talk about what minutes entail. What kind of things should be included when taking minutes? So this is minute taking 101. So at its core, minute taking is about capturing the key elements of a meeting. So every set of minutes should start with the basics, the date, the time, the location, and the attendance. So who was present? Where did the meeting happen? And when? That's important. And then we move on to the agenda. What was on the agenda? What items were discussed? So from there, you record what was actually discussed, what decisions were reached, and most importantly, what action items were created, who's responsible for what, and by when. And this becomes a roadmap for follow-up for the whole team. But there are different minute-taking styles. So let's discuss those different minute-taking styles. There's several types of minute-taking styles, and I've picked out three in particular. There may be more than that, but most of them fall into one of these three categories. The first style is action minutes. So action minutes are brief and to the point. These are great for fast-moving environments, things like project meetings where you need to know what was done, where we stand, and what needs to be done, what the deadlines are. Those kind of minutes are great for fast-moving environments or stand-up meetings because they focus on outcomes and tasks. Next, we have discussion minutes. So discussion minutes are different from action minutes because they provide a little bit more context and they summarize the main ideas, giving context to decisions made and also viewpoints shared. So it's a bit more of a write-up when it comes to discussion minutes than it is when it comes to action minutes. And the final style is a mix of the two, mix of action minutes and discussion minutes. And these are hybrid, this is a hybrid style where you include the context, but you also include the action items. And this is the most common approach because you can summarize key discussions and then outline the action items. So what style should you use? Just choose the format that best suits the purpose of your meeting and the audience of your meeting. Okay, now let's talk about legalities, which is one of the most important aspects of minute taking. The title of the slide is Stay Legal, Stay Safe. Minutes are legal records, so it's important to stay neutral and factual. Avoid including your personal opinions or interpretations. Think of minutes as a document that might one day be shared in the court of law or shared before regulators. So avoid inserting your own opinion when it comes to minutes. So avoid opinions, that's the first step. Number two, confidentiality. Confidentiality is critical. And this makes sure that everyone is secure within the meeting. So make sure your minutes are shared and stored in a secure manner. Next point is data protection laws. This is a very important element to take into consideration because depending on your jurisdiction, you may need to comply with privacy laws. These may be laws that govern the whole nation, but you also might have provincial laws to consider. So make sure you know which laws govern your jurisdiction so you can abide and comply with those laws. This is a very crucial issue. And finally, sensitive information. If something sensitive is discussed, especially involving personal information or disciplinary matters, be cautious. Sometimes redacting or summarizing the information might be the best approach. So it's important to remember those legal issues because they may come up and they need to guide your minute-taking process. Next, let's discuss the role or your job as the minute taker. What is your role as the minute taker? As a minute taker, you need to stay objective and capture facts and remain neutral. So the first role you have is to be a neutral observer. Think of a journalist. When a journalist reports on a matter, you may not know how they feel. Most of the time, you have no idea how they feel. They just report on what's happened. So that's your job as a minute taker. Stay neutral and just report and be objective and just capture the facts. Next is being an active listener. So as a minute taker, your role is not just to write things down, but it's also to support clarity, accountability, and transparency. And to do that, you need to be an active listener. And that also includes keeping up with all the conversations that go on, the discussions too. Next is being a detail organizer. What does that mean? A detail organizer. What this means is that you should be skilled at sorting, structuring, and summarizing information in a clear and logical way. That might look like listening in for key points, not just recording everything that's mentioned. Think of a situation where four people say the same thing, but in different ways. As a skilled minute taker, you should be able to capture that shared point in a clear way. You're also a guardian of follow through. You're the person who will nudge the team forward by reminding them of what was agreed upon. If they agreed to discuss a matter on a certain date, you'll nudge them on that date or just slightly before to discuss that matter so they remember to do that. And finally, you are a professional communicator. So think of yourself as a professional communicator who transforms real-time conversations into organized documentation. Okay, so we are going to zero in on one of these roles, the first one, which is the role of neutral observer. We're going to have a little exercise where we talk about objectivity, and we'll talk about how the difference between an objective statement and a subjective statement. But before we start, what does the word objective mean? It means not being influenced by personal feelings or opinions and just stating the facts. So let's do our exercise. And I'm going to ask you whether a statement is objective or if it's subjective. We'll go through each of these statements. There's 4 in total. And I'll ask you to tell me whether a statement is objective or if it's subjective. If you think it's subjective, try and point out the word or phrase that makes the statement subjective. So we'll start with the first one. It's already on your screen. It says the meeting started promptly at 10 a.m. What do you think? Is that an objective statement or subjective statement? Okay, I have a lot of objectives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Lots of objective. Yes. And 1 subjective. And the subjective vote gets it right. So this statement is a subjective statement. So the comment says promptly implies, I'm trying to, yeah, so the word promptly implies something, yes. So the word promptly is my judgment of the situation, that the meeting started promptly. So this is a subjective statement. If it was an objective statement, it would say the meeting started at 10 a.m. Okay, let's try the next one. Sarah proposed a new marketing strategy. Sarah proposed a new marketing strategy. Objective, objective, objective. I 100% agree with all of you. This is an objective statement. It's just a simple statement, a simple stating of the facts that Sarah proposed a new marketing strategy. Okay, let's do number 3. John wisely suggested having weekly meetings. John wisely suggested, yeah. Yeah, I think everybody got it right this time. It is a subjective statement, and the word wisely makes it subjective. Somebody said wisely is an opinion, and that's true. Wisely is the minute taker's opinion. So that wisely makes the statement subjective instead of objective. Okay, let's do the last one. It says, Tom sensibly raised concerns about the budget. Tom sensibly raised concerns about the budget. Yes, absolutely. I agree with all of you. The word sensibly is an opinion. Everybody got it right. Sensibly is an opinion, and that makes it a subjective statement. So if it was objective, it would just say Tom raised concerns about the budget. Okay, so that was a fun exercise showing the difference between subjective and objective. Okay, now let's move on and let's talk about a tool that simplifies the process of writing minutes. Let us talk about templates. So there is no one-size-fits-all way to write minutes. So just use what's best for you and your team. Some organizations may have a structured template to use for writing minutes, but if you have the freedom to select your own kind of template, think of what kind of template you might want to use, because templates help you to save time and ensure consistency. So I have two template types to show you. The first type is an outline format template, and I'm just going to put it on the screen. This is the outline format template. It has all the details of the meeting. So the title of the meeting, the date, the time, location, and attendees. But this is the outline structure of the template. First is the agenda and discussion summary. Each agenda point is listed as a bullet point. It's in bold, so you can see that that is an agenda point. And then after the agenda point, you have the key discussion summary based on that agenda point. What were the key discussion topics, or what were the key discussion points that came out of that agenda item? So it's a nice, concise summary of the discussion that was had on each agenda item. And then at the end, we have action items that need to be handled after the meeting, and those are listed. So this is an outline format type of template. There's another type of template that I'd like to show you, and this is a table format. I'm going to use the exact same minutes. These are just put into two different types of templates. So again, we start with the meeting details, and we have the discussion summary in a table format. So we have a column for the agenda items. So the agenda items are listed. And then we have the discussion summary. For each agenda item, we have a discussion summary. So each agenda item has a corresponding discussion summary. And then any action items that result from the discussion summary will be listed in the third column. So it's a nice link where you have the agenda item, the discussion summary, and whatever action items result from that. So those are just two templates that you could use for taking your minutes. But there's so many more templates out there that you could use. Just look for a template that works for you, that works for your meeting type, and the types of details that should be included. On our screen, we have the narrative summary type of meeting template. This type of template works well when context is important. There are times when you need to provide an extended summary of discussion, of the discussion that was had on a certain point. This normally happens when there's policy changes or complex decisions to be made. You might need an extra long write-up of what discussion was had to arrive to those decisions. So try and use the narrative summary type of template, and that will give you extra context, because it's important when policies are being changed and when complex decisions are being made. But at the end of it all, it's good to use templates because they will save you time and ensure accuracy and consistency. Now let's talk about what to do before, during, and after a meeting. First thing is preparation. So let's talk about how to prep like a pro. Preparation is important. So before the meeting, you need to first review your agenda and past minutes. Why? Why is that important? Reviewing your agenda gives you a clue as to what will be discussed. So you can easily anticipate what needs to be captured. In your mind, you can come up with possible discussion points that might be produced at the meeting based on those agenda points. So that helps to review the agenda. You get the meeting into your mind, and it helps you be settled. And also looking at past minutes helps with continuity as well. Number 2 is clarifying your template. So settle on which template you're going to use and have it ready for the meeting. Number 3 is knowing the attendees and their roles. So knowing who's who will help you to attribute action items correctly. Excuse me. And number 4, test your tools. I can't say this enough. Test your tools. It may be electronic tools like a laptop, a recording device, or it could be pens or notebooks. Test all your tools, and if possible, have a backup. There's nothing as annoying as a technical glitch. So try and test your tools. Try and check to see if you have enough battery power and enough storage, and that will make sure that you're ready for the meeting. So being ready will make you more confident and focused when the meeting starts. So we've covered what to do before. Now let's talk about what to do during the meeting. So while the meeting is happening, your goal is to listen actively and stay on track. So you can do that by developing shorthand or abbreviations for frequent terms or people's names to save you time. So you can jot your notes in a quick way. Also, try and capture decisions and actions first. Don't try and capture every word. Focus on decisions made and actions assigned. Number 3, mark unclear parts for follow-up. So if something isn't clear, make a note to follow it up after. Although, if appropriate, you may ask for clarification during the meeting. Doing that shows that you're committed to accuracy. So if you get a chance, you may ask for clarification. But if not, if the moment's passed, you could ask for clarification after the meeting. And finally, stay present, focus, and listen attentively. Your attention will make all the difference. Okay, so what do we do after the meeting? After the meeting, strike while the iron is hot. Review your notes and finalize your minutes as soon as you can while the meeting is still fresh in your mind. And then clarify any unclear points from the meeting that you might have noted down. Make the clarification then. And then once you get your minutes approved and ready, make sure they are distributed promptly. This is great because it keeps the momentum going, and it also supports accountability. And finally, store your meeting minutes securely. Make sure your document is saved in a secure location. This is especially important if it includes confidential or sensitive information. There are extra tools to keep in mind, and these are digital tools. So technology can be your friend when it comes to minute taking. And there's different types of technological tools that you could use for minute taking. The first one is word processors like Microsoft Word. Those are great for writing and editing minutes. And they have lots of features that you could use, like spell check, grammar check, conciseness suggestions, etc. Then there are note-taking applications like Microsoft OneNote. Microsoft OneNote is great at organizing your information visually. It also has transcription and recording capabilities, if you need them, to help you capture the meeting. Voice recorders are great, but when it comes to recording the meeting, you have to make sure that you get the consent of everyone involved and that they are notified that the meeting is being recorded. But if you're going to be using voice recorders, make sure that they are charged and you're ready to use them. And these can help you to revisit key points, but never solely rely on a recording. Try and use your notes as well. And finally, AI tools. AI tools can save you so much time and effort. There's two main tools that I'll highlight here. There's ChatGPT and Copilot. So ChatGPT can help you with things like summarizing, editing, proofreading, and so forth. Copilot can do the same, but Copilot takes it a step further. If you have the paid version of Copilot, it has the ability to integrate into Microsoft applications. So if you have Copilot, you can use it within Microsoft Word, and it's going to help you when it comes to drafting your minutes, editing, summarization, formatting, keeping things consistent, and so much more. You can use Copilot in OneNote too to organize your notes, rewrite your transcriptions, and so forth. But at the end of the day, AI is not magic. AI and all the rest of the tools are just support. They're not a crutch. It still takes human judgment and skill to create great minutes. That's why the title of the webinar is The Art of Capturing Minutes. It's an art, it's a skill, it takes time. So give yourself the time to improve at this skill. All right, so before we go to wrap everything up, we are going to watch a very short meeting clip. So your job is to try and capture down the key points, any decision and any action items that are presented here. This is not a test. Don't worry about being perfect. It's just a chance to practice and try and listen out for key points or key decisions that are made, and try and test out your active listening skills. So it's going to take less than a minute. So enjoy the video. I'm just going to play it.
Hello, everyone. Thank you guys for coming to our weekly student success meeting. And let's just get started. So I have our list of chronically absent students here, and I've been noticing a troubling trend. A lot of students are skipping on Fridays. Does anyone have any idea what's going on?
I've heard some of my mentees talking about how it's really hard to get out of bed on Fridays. It might be good if we did something like a pancake breakfast to encourage them to come.
I think that's a great idea. Let's try that next week.
It might also be because a lot of students have been getting sick now that it's getting colder outside. I've had a number of students come by my office with symptoms like sniffling and coughing. We should put up posters with tips for not getting sick since it's almost flu season, like, wash your hands after the bathroom, stuff like that.
I think that's a good idea, and it'll be a good reminder for the teachers as well.
Awesome. So what key points did you get from that meeting? What key points did you get? Doesn't have to be anything profound, just a point or two that you got. You could just type it in the chat and we can compare notes. Brenda says attendance issue. Yes, attendance was an issue. Missing classes on Friday. Yes, specifically. Yes, the students missing classes, chronically skipping classes. Yeah, discussing reasons and solutions. Oh, I love this. Suggestions, pancake saved, and precaution signs. Well done, Shalini. That's quite a good, concise summary of everything. Yeah, you guys got all the points. Well done. And I find it so interesting that it's a 40, I think it's a 48-second clip, but you get so many points just from that short clip. And that shows you how much focus you need for even a 30-minute meeting. It takes a lot of focus to stay on top of all these discussions during a meeting. So well done, everyone, for picking out the key points. It's exactly what I got as well. Okay, so let's talk about our key takeaways. What is important when it comes to minute taking? First of all, know the purpose and type of minutes that you're going to take. Understanding that will help you choose the right style when you take minutes. Next, stay neutral, clear, and objective in your writing, and structure your notes so that they're easy to follow. And this also helps when it comes to legalities. If ever there's a legal dispute and you need to present your minutes in court, we hope that won't happen. But if it does, if you've stayed neutral and clear, you won't have a problem. Next, use templates and tools to make your job easier. So templates simplify the job, and you can use technological tools like Microsoft Word, Microsoft OneNote, or Copilot. Those tools will help you through the process. But don't underestimate the power of your presence as you write minutes. Prepare before, focus during, and finalize after. And finally, remember that you are the bridge between the conversation and the action, what gets done. So your role as a minute taker is a crucial one. So I'm going to hand back over to Joy. I'll stop sharing.
Perfect. So, guys, I'm just going to show you something quickly, but in the meantime, if you want to put any questions you have about minute taking or any comments, just give me 1 second. I'm just going to share my screen. Perfect. So, if this is a topic that you want to learn more about, if you go to our website and you go down to courses under writing, We have a full minute taking essentials course. It's fantastic. Really, today's webinar just kind of scratched the surface of it. I was going to say, Gloria, the one thing I appreciate is I'm glad we called it the art of minute taking because it definitely is not one size fits all. Even in
Yeah.
everyone's comments and breakdown, you can see like different personalities and people list things out and say things differently. So it really is an art. So this course, we do offer it publicly, meaning if you're an individual or maybe in your company, there's just like a couple of people that want to take it. We offer a public schedule. The next one's in June. If this is a course where you have a bunch of or a number of people in your company that need to take it, or you want to customize the content, maybe you want to focus on minute taking in a particular area, you can contact us for private training. And you'll see on our writing page, we have a number of courses, including business writing, that works. Before we take questions, there was just one other thing I want to show you. On our website, we have lots and lots of free resources. We add to them on a very regular basis. I want to mention we have one more webinar in our season this year. Next month, Gloria is going to do conditional formatting in Excel. This is a great one. Like if you are very seasoned with Excel, it's a great refresher. If you're new to maybe something a little more advanced like conditional formatting, you will really enjoy this webinar. We then take July and August off and we'll come back in the fall. We're already working on the webinars for next year. And I'll tell you guys ahead of time, we're going to do September will be Excel tips and tricks, but we're looking at doing things like business writing, AI, SharePoint, even like a file management webinar. So check back later in the summer when our new schedule comes out, but the next webinar after June's will be in September. And then one other thing I want to show you, in our free webinar or our free resources section, we have lots of free downloads. So for example, if you are someone who loves shortcuts, we have shortcuts for all the major Microsoft programs. If you're getting into Copilot, the trick with Copilot or AI is prompting it well. So the best Copilot prompts. We even on the soft skills side have lots of great stuff like 10 time management strategies. So check back often because we add stuff on a very regular basis. Okay, so Gloria, let's take questions if we have any. If not, I actually got a couple of questions for you. How can interruptions during meetings be handled? Because that must happen quite a bit.
Yeah, that happens a lot. So you need a game plan. A minute taker works in collaboration with the chairman or the chairperson for the meeting. So discuss with the chairperson what your game plan is for interruptions. And having what are known as agreements really help. Meeting agreements are like rules for a meeting, like your phone should be on silent or you can't answer your phone during a meeting or things like that. So the different types of meeting agreements that you can have, those will minimize any interruptions, but also having a game plan helps because sometimes as prepared as you might be, those interruptions might happen. So having a game plan helps you be more prepared to handle.
That's good advice for lots of areas in life, right? That no matter how much you prepare, sometimes having a game plan
Things
is
happen.
still good.
Things happen. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, one other one I have is what tips do you have for taking minutes for a highly technical meeting?
Oh, that's a good one. And I've had a couple of those, a couple of people asking the same question. So preparation, preparation, preparation is key. When you know your meeting is going to be highly technical and you're not too familiar with the contents of the meeting, preparing, having your agenda beforehand, going through it, and asking for clarification for terms you may not understand will help you a lot. So there may be things like acronyms or highly technical terms that you may not understand. Doing all of that in advance will help you be more settled and prepared as you take notes for that meeting.
Thank you. Gloria, if do you have access to the chat? There is a question in there. Do you
Yes,
want me
I
to read it
did
off or do you
see.
want to? Okay, go
Please,
ahead.
please
Yep.
go ahead.
Oh, sure. So
Oh,
Carla asks, is there an easy way to determine a decision versus an action?
yes. So a decision I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but an action item is something that someone has to do. So an action item is normally something that needs to be done, and there's someone responsible for it, and there's a due date, there's a deadline for when they need to do it by. So an action item is like something you would put on a to-do list, or and as opposed to a decision, or it's just something that's decided and it's kind of dormant, it doesn't have a deadline.
Thank you. Were there any other questions? Oh, a good question from
Very
Donna.
good
You say
question.
use AI to help. What risks are there using AI for sensitive meetings?
Sensitive. Oh, okay. That's a very good question. That's something you might have to, it depends on the type of AI as well. It depends which AI platform you're using. So you might want to research on the terms and conditions of each AI tool. So Copilot obviously is different from ChatGPT, which is different from Gemini, which is a Google AI. So whatever AI tool you use, you have to kind of know the terms and conditions that come with that AI tool.
Good. And Gloria, would you say usually using AI and stuff, you usually probably have to get consent to use
Yes,
it? I assume
organizations consent.
with the
Yes, yes,
organization too, yeah.
yes, absolutely. Yes, that has to be part of what is agreed upon.
Very good. Thank you, Donna. That was a really good question.
Yeah, great question.
Yep. Okay, Michelle C here. When summarizing after the meeting, how much detail should you go into for the notes? And a secondary question, should you capture conversations or just main points?
Okay, that's an excellent question. And that will be determined by the purpose of your meeting. If your meeting is a sensitive one, it's got major issues and you have to discuss complex, sensitive things, you might need to include more detail than the average meeting. But if it's a weekly meeting that you have to just go over who's doing what or what needs to be done for the week, it just might be a matter of just having your key points and then just moving on to the next. But sometimes things that are crucial or things like policy changes or complex, difficult decisions may need more context and more background. Hope that
Very good
answers
question.
your question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good question.
Gloria, are there some common questions you're asked for this course?
Yes, so Danielle's question, I'll just quickly answer
Oh,
Danielle's
sure.
question. Yes,
Yep.
Danielle, you'll get a link. You'll get
Yep.
an email after the webinar with the link to the recording. And most of the questions I get are the highly technical meetings. Most people seem to take minutes for teams that they may not be a part of. So they may not be too familiar with the jargon or the acronyms or the technical terms that are used. So the biggest question is, how do I handle that? How do I handle words I've never heard before? And as I mentioned earlier, preparation is key.
Preparation. Yeah.
Yeah.
The 3 Ps, you said.
Yeah. Yeah.
The 3 Ps.
Preparation.
Yep. Oh, and just to expand on Danielle's question, yes. So Susan will send an email to everyone who signed up for the webinar, and you'll get a link to the recording because we put it up on YouTube. And we also have a handout for today's session, and there'll be a link to download that also. So what's today, Thursday? So you'll get it by Monday. Very good. Very good. Well, if there isn't any more questions, um, will we receive an email regarding the upcoming Excel? Actually, here, if you don't mind me sharing my screen, you will if you sign up. So here, give me 1 second. So if you go to Zoom, is always different because you have to press that one extra button to share. I'm obviously a team user. Okay, so if you're on upcoming webinars, Susan, would you mind just sharing the link to the upcoming webinars in the chat? If
Absolutely.
you sign up, so you put in your first name, last name, and then it asks on the next screen for your email address. It'll automatically send you an email, and then the day before it actually sends you a reminder for the webinar also. Or if you send us a quick email, we'll sign you up for the webinar if you want. Perfect. Ray has to run to another meeting, but thank you for your time and insight, knowledge. Very much appreciated. Have a great afternoon and weekend. Ray, thank you so much.
Thank you,
That's so
Ray.
well said. Thank you so much, Gloria. Thank you for the informative presentation. Susan put in the link for the webinar. And Susan, if you can include
Yep,
it in the follow-up email also. And there's lots
absolutely.
of thank yous. And everyone, thank you so much for coming to our webinar. And thank you, Gloria. That was a fantastic presentation.
Thanks, everyone.